to, where are we, Fiji. Just take a look at that morning view for 2 seconds. Just in case you don't know what paradise looks like. There it is. And we've virtually got this beach all to ourselves for the week. Done some fishing, and hopefully this week I'm going to get some shore-based fishing. But got to Fiji and all our rods were missing, all the spear guns were missing, so Lana's family has organised us some rods and spear guns and whatever we can get together to make this week work. Done 3 charter days. Amazing, the first charter. First day we struggled to find a few fish because we were a bit too close to town, where apparently night divers impact just about every part of the local fishing. And then the second day we absolutely cleaned up. I think we got about 20-25 fish, and unfortunately my fitness and big Betsy down here couldn't keep up with all the casting we had to do, so the charters got involved. The guides, Mark and Ace, absolute legends, and an absolute laugh to have on board. And that was at LIVIN, and then we flew to SAVU SAVU, and I did a charter day with Immersion charters, and Mike was an absolute weapon. He loves the game more than we do, which is great when you get on board and the guide's just, you know, more passionate than you are about fishing. Unfortunately, the fishing was great, but the bites were hard. The GTs there are a bit smarter than I thought they were. Some big ones come in, some absolute busters come in to bite the lures. I got bricked twice and some absolute crackers. And yeah, I got a bit of a lesson in GT fishing in Fiji. They're a bit smarter here than they are in Australia, so I don't know, I learned the hard way, and hopefully I can go again with him later this week. Enjoy.
Right, you can go on the other side of the boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Good fish. Good fish.
Yeah, good fish.
That's a good fish. Boys, that's a ripper. Holy shit. Fuck.
Give him some lane.
We continued to fish this reef. Would have been 25 k's long, and just about every gap held fish. So there was red bass, barracuda. None of the barracudas made the video, but the boys reckon they're chicken of the sea, and they took a few home for dinner. But these red bass are insane. Like, they are the angriest fish in the ocean. All they do is come out and maul, but they love a pause. One thing I learned over there is they love a pause. I ended up taking a bit of a break and driving the boat for a bit, just because purely I wasn't casting hard enough. I could tell the effort was kind of costing me fish, so Ace and Mark decided to do some casting for me while I had a little lunch break, I'd call it.
Come on.
Or going soft, I suppose.
Big 30 kilo cooter.
This particular ledge we were casting off, I couldn't believe the amount of structure that's there, and that's one advantage. But the depth of water went from maybe 10 meters to nearly 50 to 100 within the space of 100. So you're casting in water where just about anything could pop up and bite the lure. It's great to watch.
Big bass. Big dirty jack. Yoo-hoo-hoo. Love it. I whacked it. Ooh, look at that big shadow on him too. Fuck, that's big. Shit. I'll hit this door, left or right. That's a big jeep, man. Like where I'm going to be casting for the next few days. You can see that there's shallower parts that you can't cast into, and then there's ledges that pop out on the other side of the reef. Just got to watch the swell coming in and out. Anything you hook up, anything that you hook up at all, the no drag, skull drag, summit, lock it. Just a lot of walking to get here, and I got attacked by some birds, which is typical me. Thankfully the GoPro saved my life. We'll see how it goes.
I did do a bit of reconnaissance before casting where I was going to cast, and there was bait, structure and plenty of current, which was a major advantage, knowing where I was going to cast and where I could place good casts. And it turned out it was a major advantage because I didn't lose too much gear, and I definitely knew where to put the lures as I ran into fish constantly in the right area. So you can see in front where I'm casting, there's a nice gap in the reef, and fish bite straight over the top.
Oh, that was a sick bite.
I did want to eat some fresh fish while I was over there, so I kept this little bluefin for dinner, and I tell you what, it's probably the most amazing fish I've eaten in a long time. Fresh, of course. Most fish are good fresh, but the islands themselves have massive pools in them. You can just keep the fresh fish all afternoon and let them sit in the pool until you're ready to go home. So I just put this one in the pool and let him swim around until I was ready to go, and then caught him again and took him home. You can't beat freshness for that kind of fish. It was, and it was beautiful. Very underrated. So this is where it gets interesting, because I went with Michael from Immersion, and the best thing about where Michael fishes is A, he's got endless options. You're never bored and you're never too far away from your second option. And B, he's got all the right technology and right gear to catch just about any fish that you want. Probably one of the best charters I've been on in a long time, just because of the diversity of what he does. And obviously he loves it more than I do, so I was never bored for a second. If anything, once again, it was my fitness that let me down, and Michael had to have a few casts himself. But we did some deep dropping to start the day. Got whatever fish that's called. I have no idea what it is. But after not having too much luck on the bottom, we ended up doing some casting for the remainder of the day, because it's pretty addictive sight casting. You can't beat it, and proved quite fruitful. Endless red bass and GTs for the entire day. I loved it. Once again, I got bricked and lost some more of mixed gear, but yeah, that's fishing.
Yeah, a little bit of bait shimming off it, eh? Oh, hey, was that a fish on it? Big boil. Big boil. See it? He's on it. Oh, he's on it. 2, 3 on it. 4 and a bluefin. Yeah. Not this time. That's a good fish.
Fishing the same structure in the mornings we did in the afternoon, because obviously once you catch a few, the fish tend to go quiet and go down a little bit deeper, and we were chasing. You could tell the current slowed down on each structure slowly as the tide was incoming and then outgoing again. So like Mick taught me a few things about the 3 things that are the most valuable, which is current, structure and bait. And it's amazing how if one of them just don't weigh up and one of them's not happening, you just won't get fish. But he managed to time it perfectly, and just about everywhere we had, his knowledge of the area was incredible. He was always where we needed to be when we needed to be there. So we got bucket loads more red bass and some more GTs. Didn't obviously crack that 25 kilo mark, which that's just fishing. I had my chances, I just lost them. But then we started getting pocket storms coming through, which is another amazing sight in itself. You'd be sitting there 1 minute, complete glass off and hot as hell, and the next minute another storm's coming rolling through, but there's not much wind on it. It's just this little pocket storm that cools everything down, followed by a super sauna. So on the way home, Mick asked if we want to do a quick trawl, and it wasn't really Wahoo season, but we'll see what we can do, and managed to trawl through a few storms and find some bait. And he went to an area where he knew there might be, and landed a nice one actually, real nice fish. I was lucky to line up with some of my wife's family who offered to take me out for a quick flick in their local area. They do a lot of deep dropping over there for flame tails. They're called something different over there, but I went out with these lads for one afternoon. It had to be the only windy afternoon of the day, and the drift was ridiculous. We were drifting at 2 to 3 k's an hour, and obviously trying to drop down 400 metres was impossible. And as I found out really quick, my Saragossa didn't hold anywhere near enough line to get to the bottom. And after I saw what Kurt was using for his setup, I realised I was probably undergunned as well. So I'm kind of glad I didn't make the bottom. But they usually produce fish. It's just one of those days where it was windy and real gnarly. But it was a really great experience to see how they do it over there with the hand line. Really incredible setup. Nothing's breaking them, but I'd hate to hook a shark. I reckon that'd get a bit hectic. Between fishing, we spent every day at the beach, every day driving around the island looking for new spots to swim at, and found a nice little waterfall. That was about a 40-minute drive from where we lived, and it was amazing. We had it to ourselves for over 2 hours, and I couldn't believe that there was still places like this that have waterfalls that good, that you had all to yourself. It was pretty special.